Hello everyone. Welcome to ESGI's Celebrity Webinar Series. Today's topic is Turn Every Child into a Writer Instantly. I'm Rochelle and I'm excited to be your host for today's webinar featuring the one and only Palma Lindsay from KFUNdamentals. We'll get started with Palma's presentation in just a moment. But first, we have a few housekeeping details for you. For better audio and video quality, close all other applications like Skype that use bandwidth. If you are having any audio or video issues, try refreshing or changing browsers. We will be using the question feature today since everyone is muted during the webinar. If you have a question, type it in the box. Let's practice now. Everyone find the question box and type in where you are from. Fabulous. It looks like we have people from all over joining us to learn with Palma today. For attending live today, you will receive Palma's month-to-month writing, a 20-page packet. Also, you will receive a certificate of attendance, and your certificate will be emailed to you within a week. Please don't look for it right after the broadcast. It will take up to a week to get your certificate. The email will also contain a link to today's broadcast. Now I'm sure you all are interested in prizes. 4 lucky winners today will receive a 1-year ESGI license and Palma's Instant Writing Set. 1 grand prize winner will get a free year of ESGI, Palma's Instant Writing, and DJ Incres CD Kids All Year. Of course, everyone on the live broadcast will receive the month-to-month writing set from Palma. We at ESGI are thrilled that so many of you registered to learn with Palma today. Thanks to all of you who are dedicated to children and families. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Palma and let the learning begin.
Well, hello. I hope you can all hear me. I'm Palma Lindsay, and I'm recording here from Greenwood, California. I taught for 37 years in Southern California, and here are some pictures of my wonderful classroom. I had the opportunity to have one of these wonderful big classrooms that was built way back when I was in kindergarten. So I really enjoyed teaching down there. And as Rochelle said, we've got lots of prizes for you today, but let's get started on how to make every child a writer. What we're going to cover today is a little bit about emergent writing and then some writing tips and techniques for descriptive writing, informative writing, opinion writing, and narrative writing. Now, when we want to make every child a writer, we have to understand that children understand writing as communicating their marks on paper. And it's really wonderful if they can understand sound letter basics, spelling, grammar, and sentence composition. But they don't have that usually if they're in pre-K or kinder or even remedial first grade. So let's find out what to do if your students don't have these skills, but we need to get them writing. So these skills are very, very important, but just like as if I was going to teach you how to play the piano, let's say, and you had never played the piano before, first I would just let you explore the piano, just as we let children explore writing with pencils, crayons, or what have you. Then if I was going to teach you how to play piano, I might model some songs, just like we model writing for children. I might guide you. I might play a little part of a song and see if you can find the note that would come at the end of that line. Or maybe I would play part of a song and let you copy just a few notes by mimicking me. Well, that's what we do when we're teaching writing. And we do all of this before we teach children how to read music. So we should be doing things like this before we teach children how to write. Now, to be able to write, children need to be able to speak. So I came up with this instant writing. It's based on a kit that I used in my district. And I created graphics using DJ Incres, fonts and graphics. And all of the pictures are labeled on lined font. The children receive pink cards with nouns on them, green cards with verbs, and blue nouns to be used in the predicate. And they get to pick a pink, a green, and a blue and place it on their paper. Now you can make lots of different sentences with these 3 cards. You could say the chick wrote on the mailbox, a chick wrote under the mailbox, my chick wrote near the mailbox, your chick wrote in the mailbox. There are a million sentences you can make with this. The kit includes the template for writing, and it includes lots and lots of cards. For instance, you get 48 pink nouns, 48 blue nouns for the predicate, and 48 green verbs to use. Now, DJ Incres fonts were really great for making this, and they've gone ahead and given me a code that you could use if you wanted to purchase any of their fonts from their website, and that code is down at the bottom. It's just simply the word webinar, and if you put that in, if you're ordering anything from DJ Incres, you will get a 20% off through April 15th. So you're going to get a template for writing, and the children loved meeting with me in small group setting, and they would get their template and they would get their cards. I would give them 1 sheet of 6 pink cards, 1 sheet of 6 green cards, and 1 sheet of 6 blue cards, and they would cut them apart and put them into their Ziploc bag. I labeled the bag with a Sharpie, and this was good then for 6 lessons. I liked doing them once a week, and then after we did 6 lessons, I could set up a center by printing cards on cardstock, laminating them, and letting the children go and create sentences at a center. They would reach into their bag, and these are my old picture cards, not my new ones that are on the nice lined fonts. They would reach into their bag, pick a pink, green, and a blue, place it on their paper, and then start developing with oral language and composing the sentence verbally with me first before they would write. Now, to write the sentence, though, they're going to need some more words. Words like the, maybe with a capital letter, maybe with a lowercase letter. Maybe they would need other articles like and, or other words like my, by, or maybe there are some words that they think of that I haven't, so you get some blank spaces. Any cards, any of the words that they might need can be found here on this card, or you can write them in. Now, I would print this on yellow cardstock and laminate it so that if a child needed, like let's say the word the with a capital, I would circle it with a dry erase pen, and then I could erase it, and we could use the card over and over again. So this is our Helping Words card. Here's an example of a child using this set for the very first time. Now, before I started with the yellow card, I would just attach lined dry erase contact paper to laminated construction paper, and I would write the words that they needed. But I stopped using this, and I went to the yellow card system. But this is a preschool student for the very first time doing this activity, and I want you to see how successful he is.
I at the zoo.
Great. Read it one more time.
The cat cries at the zoo.
Excellent. Okay, so this is what the child would get. They glue their cards down, then they would tell me their sentence. I would help them with the extra words on the yellow card, and they would write their sentence by copying. But this is modeling writing, and this is helping them to understand that words mimic our thoughts, and that we leave spaces between our words, and they can copy very easily by looking at the lined font. Another video.
The 9 buys money at the store.
Wow, that was fast. Do you have one for me, Liam? What does it say?
Store.
It does say store. What does it say? Start right here. The
9 straws at the store.
Awesome. Okay, so now it's time for some prizes. But first, let me give you a tip. Have you ever tried using one of those giant pencils, you know, that you get at the carnivals or the dollar store? It's really awkward. Well, it's awkward for children to use really long pencils. Even the big fat Ticonderoga pencils can be too long. So I always liked to chop mine in half, and half of them had erasers. The other half I just put erasers on the table. And by holding a smaller, shorter pencil, they felt more comfortable and it was easier for them to write their letters and numbers. You can use small golf pencils, but I liked the big fat triangular Ticonderoga pencils, and I just cut them in half. And now we've got some prizes. Rochelle?
Okay, thank you all for listening. Our first prize winner for a year of ESGI and Palma's prize package is Naida Nieves from Florida. Naida Nieves from Florida, congratulations. You'll be receiving an email from us.
That's great. So you got to see how instant writing works, but we also did daily writing in our daily writing journals. And, right on, and there we go. First, I wanted you to notice that our daily writing journals are basically the same form, stapled together, maybe 10 to 15 sheets, and each child got their book that would last then for 10 to 15 school days. So I would use about one of these a month because we didn't write every single day. But I wanted you to notice that they are numbered with the student's number. Now, student 19 gave me their journal. They were all done with it a lot earlier than students 5 and 4. So tomorrow, students 4 and student 5 will get their journals first because they needed more time to finish. And so that's how I collected journals. But now let me give you a peek as to what's inside these journals. You need a simple rubric. So we came up with a variety of different rubrics, but this was the one that I liked the best. It had 5 parts. The first one said, I wrote my name. So if you wrote your name at the top, you got a little dot right here. I put a dot with my marking pen when you brought your journal up to me. If you happen to use spaces between your words, even if you weren't writing complete words or real words, you got a dot right here. If you used a capital on the very first word, first letter of the first word, and you put a period at the end, you got a dot here. If you attempted to sound blend, even if you didn't sound blend correctly, you got a dot here. And if you tried to write neatly, you got a dot here. So basically, it looked something like, I'll show you in just a second. Let me show you first my seasonal writing journals. Forgot to tell you about those. I did the exact same icons for the different months of the year. I figured I was teaching seasons anyway, and it made it a little bit more fun for them. But what's written on these is exactly the same. The first one always says, I wrote my name. The last one always says, I wrote neatly. Now, these are available on TPT, the seasonal ones, but I also wanted to show you how I worked this out with my pointers. I went to the dollar store, and I got 3 pointers for $1, and I labeled them. I labeled one Captain Capital, and I labeled another one Punctuation Pointer, and I labeled my third one Space Cadet, because those were the 3 skills I really wanted to emphasize. Writing your sentence with a capital letter, putting a period at the end, and leaving spaces between your words. So remember the journals that I told you about where I put the dot on each icon? Well, if you wrote your name at the top, you got a red dot here with my marking pen. Maybe you didn't leave spaces between your words, so I didn't put a dot there, but whatever you did here, if you did it, I left you a dot. Now, you can go back to the carpet and color in those icons that had dots, and then we put a 4 here. And this did 2 things for me. This gave me a sample of your work for me to use as an assessment later, but it also gave me a teachable moment. If you were having trouble leaving spaces between your words, I asked you to be my space cadet. And then you would go around to the other children who were still writing, and you would touch their paper, their journal paper, with the wand, and you would whisper to them. If you saw spaces between their words, you would whisper, good job, you left spaces between your words. And if you saw that someone wasn't leaving spaces between their words, you would whisper to them, could you please erase that and leave spaces between your words? That raised your level of consciousness about leaving spaces between words, and it also helped the other children, because this is not a test. So ultimately, I wanted children to earn 5 stars, but I wanted them to also get a friendly reminder and create a friendly, warm environment in our classroom where we helped each other. Now, what if you came up to me and you got all 5 red dots, you got all the skills just fine, and you didn't need to work on anything? Then I would just let you choose a pointer. And you didn't have to use these 3 pointers. You could also be a neatness nurse, and yes, boys could be nurses too, and they got to go around to check to see who was writing neatly. Or maybe you could be a name detective and check to see if everyone has a name on their paper. Whichever skills you're working on, you can have them create a pointer and go around and check for you. Now, we talked about modeling writing and how important it is. So if I want to model the importance of leaving spaces between my words, I would create a sentence for the children in framed words. So all the children had to do was cut out the rectangles and glue them on, leaving the spaces between their words as they glued them on. And then they would also have to add a period at the very, very end. So this is another way we used our writing journal. Again, we used rubrics on the side, and they got to come up. And so they might not have sound blended here, so they would still get that dot. They might not have used a capital at the beginning because it already had a capital, so they would already get that dot. But I would be looking to see if they're leaving spaces and adding the period, and did they write their name. Now, this is a big chart that I used, but I only revealed 1 sentence a day. So if I revealed the first sentence, which, can you see how it has mostly sight words? I see my blank. So this is kind of like teaching you how to play piano, but leaving out the last note in a line. I see my, and they can pick anything they wanted. I see my friend, I see my hand, I see my teacher, I see my book, whatever they wanted to write. Then that gave me an opportunity to assess whether or not they are attempting to sound blend. So they're going to copy I, see, my, and then try to write the last word. I will check to see if their name is on their paper. Did they use spaces between their words? Did they write neatly? Did they begin with a capital, end with a period, and so on? The next day, I would cover up I see my blank, and I would just reveal I like to go to. And they would copy, I like to go to. And they learn pretty quickly that if they write Disneyland, it's probably going to take them a longer time than if they tried to write park. But it still gives me a chance to assess whether or not they are attempting to sound blend. This would be a 4-day chart. So I would do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then Friday, we would do one of our monthly writing activities. So my monthly writing activity might look like this. And by the way, this is part of the set that you're getting for free. It's 20 writing prompts. Things like my favorite Thanksgiving food is, and if they liked turkey, they just have to copy the word turkey. If they liked pie, they just copy the word pie. But if there was something else they liked, maybe they really liked the mashed potatoes, then you write mashed potatoes for them and they copy it. So I would do this in a small group setting so that they would have an opportunity to, for instance, color the apple. Maybe this child likes red apples, so they're going to color this red, and then you can write red for them on a Post-it or a piece of dry erase board, or if they are pre-K, you might highlight it here with a highlight marker and they can trace over it. And I loved some of the opinion writing. Would you rather have a beard like Lincoln or a wig like Washington? Or when it rains, I like to. And then the children can finish the sentence any way they like. If I'm doing this in a small group setting, this was for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, they would illustrate what their dream for the world is. And while they're illustrating, I would ask them, what is your dream for the world? Perhaps they would say that everyone has food. I would write that for them on a piece of dry erase board or another piece of lined paper for them to copy. And if they were able to attempt to write it on their own, of course I would let them, because I would be doing this at a small group setting, so my groups would be differentiated. So here's a tip now and a prize. My tip now is about sight words. I like to put sight words all over the classroom. We had slap and sight words on our door. I just put Ellison die-cut handprints with sight words on them and laminated them. And I would ask the children as we walked to lunch or the bus or the library to slap certain sight words. You don't need handprints. You can just put them on circles or squares, but do laminate them because they do get slapped and they do get dirty. I also had sight word charts that I kept up in my classroom, and you can see in the word, for the sight word my, different students gave me a sentence using the sight word within context of the sentence, and they either signed it or I wrote their name. It's better actually if you have them sign it. We were in the middle of doing this chart. I still needed to meet with another group, but you can see the charts we haven't gotten to yet, and these stay up all year. They're great for reading the room, and they're great for children that want to just use a word in a sentence to be able to copy one. And use your teachable moment. For instance, these are the slats by the air conditioning vent by my classroom. They were outside, and the custodian was never getting a chance to clean them. So I took the edge of a wet sponge, and you got it. I wrote sight words in the dirt on the slats. And as we walked to lunch, the students would go, oh, look, I see our words. They're in the dirt. And I'm like, yeah, and they would read them. So use the words whenever you can. And now I'm going to let Rochelle pick another winner for some more prizes.
Thank you, Palma. We're getting so many good ideas. Thank you so much for this training today. Our second winner of the night is Jamie Henshaw from New York. Jamie Henshaw, congratulations. You're a winner of ESGI free year and Palma's wonderful prize package that she's giving away today. So Jamie Henshaw. And just so you know, there's no need to register for any of these prizes. We're just choosing them randomly from the people who are attending live. Thank you.
Well, great. Okay. So how do I assess the writing skills? If students are doing all of this journal writing and instant writing, how do I know what my children know and what they don't know? Well, I decided on the skills that they needed to know. My district decided actually on the skills they needed to know by the end of the year. And I went ahead and used ESGI for that. When I discovered ESGI back in the day, I forget when, like 2008 or something like that, my jaw just dropped when I saw what it could do for me and how it can save me so much time. What the children see on the screen is either a letter, a number, a color, or whatever it is, a sight word. And if they can tell me what that is or do the task, I click yes. And if they can't, I click no. So remember those journals that I looked at with the rubrics? I flipped through them and I looked to see who consistently leaves spaces between their words. And if Katie Lindsay can leave spaces between her words consistently, I would click yes, and if she couldn't, I would click no. The best part about ESGI, I think, isn't just the pie graphs, which I used to drive my assessments and to drive my curriculum, because I could look to see which skills I needed to work on and which skills everybody already knew. But I loved the bar graphs because the bar graphs gave me specific names of specific children who still did not know a particular skill. And it also tells you who does know that particular skill. So if I clicked on the gray here for concepts of print, leaving spaces between words, it told me that Mary Poppins, Donald Duck, and Minnie Mouse still do not leave spaces between their words. So I can click on any of my skills within the subset of concepts of print, and it will tell me exactly who needs to work on which skills. Well, there's my RTI right there for leaving spaces between words. The best part about this is that ESGI gives you that information for any of the tests. They have tons of built-in tests, but there are also tests that you can make yourself. So if you were to sign up for ESGI now for a free trial, you would have all summer to work on it because they are doing a special promotion right now. Normally, ESGI would give you 60 days for free to try it out. And it's a wonderful company. You don't have to put in a credit card. They're not going to try to scam you because they want you to enjoy it and be successful with it. But when your 60-day trial is just about over, they'll just ask you, do you want to continue? And if you do, if you put in my code, KFUN, which is right here, you would automatically qualify for $40 off your first year. Now, right now, instead of a 60-day trial, even though it will say that when you sign up, within a week you will be upgraded to a 5-month trial, which will not expire until August 31st. So that gives you the entire summer to play with ESGI. You can put in your class list from right now and finish off the year with ESGI. If you're fortunate enough to pre-test incoming students in the summer, you can start out by putting their names into the system over the summer, and you can look at the tutorials and just really get your feet wet with ESGI. So it's 5 months for free. Not only that, if you enter before April 10th, they will automatically enter you into the pot of gold, and you would also qualify for the $40 off of your first year if you decide to stay with ESGI. There's a direct link that would put my code in for you. It's bit.ly/ all capital letters ESGI code. That will take you directly to the sign up. But enough of that. Let's talk a little bit about descriptive writing, because descriptive writing is used in all kinds of writing. It's used in narrative writing and informative writing and opinion writing. It needs to convey visual and sensory images. And best practices for that is to use the 5 senses. So I always started my school year with a unit on the 5 senses. So let's just say we want to write about our favorite food. And let's just say you picked pretzel sticks. I would ask you, what do pretzel sticks look like? Maybe they're shiny, maybe they're brown, maybe they look like they're spotted because of the salt on them. What do they sound like? Well, when I eat them, they sound crunchy. What do they smell like? Kind of like bread. And isn't that a simile? There's a teachable moment. They taste salty. What do they feel like? Maybe they feel hard. And they would use these sensory words to help them to write their sentence. Now, that's just for descriptive writing, but informative writing would mean that we were looking for children to use a combination of drawing, dictating, and writing to compose information, to give you information about a topic. Now, they need to be able to name the topic. They need to be able to identify the topic from the details. So if we're talking about Disneyland, don't tell me anything about your dog, because dogs are not allowed at Disneyland. If you were talking about your birthday party, don't tell me about going on an airplane to another country, because your birthday party is something we're celebrating right here, right now, and you're telling me about what's going on here. And we use a variety of graphic organizers to do that. And once we've used our graphic organizers for a pre-writing activity, then we can go ahead and start writing. So perhaps my sentence is going to be about plants. We're going to stick to the topic, and we're going to start with our topic sentence, and they might copy this. A plant has many parts. Then they have to come up with their own detailed sentences. Now, I would give them a word bank, words like they, some, it, have, and has, so they can compose sentences like, after they wrote and copied, a plant has many parts, they might write, they have stems, some have leaves, it can have petals, and they can use some of these word bank words. Now, if I was teaching preschool, I would be doing this verbally, and they might just copy a plant has many parts, and then maybe do an activity where they're coloring in the parts. Kindergarten, though, they're going to start writing some detailed sentences, and I would do 1 sentence a day. So if we're going to copy a plant has many parts, and I do this pictorial with them about the parts of the plant, then the next day they can pick 1 part to write a detail about, and we would just do 1 sentence a day, because we don't want to do a whole paragraph at once. I might use a chart like this with photographs, because they're not quite reading yet, and the sentence might be, I like blank weather. So let's say you picked rainy weather. We would talk about, what does rainy weather look like? What might you wear in rainy weather? What might you do in rainy weather? Wow, you might splash in rainy weather, splash in puddles. So maybe your sentence might be, I like rainy weather. That's your topic. Then the next day, tell me something about what it looks like. Rainy weather looks wet. Or maybe you would write another day something you'd wear in rainy weather. I wear a rain jacket in rainy weather. And another day, write about an activity you might do in rainy weather. I splash in puddles when it rains. And I would help you with the extra words. It's not always a test. It's an opportunity to learn. So we want the children to have lots and lots of opportunities to not only see writing that's modeled, but be successful with writing. Here's another thing you could do for teaching, let's say, national symbols. See, I like to teach writing across the curriculum so I get more bang for my buck. So I'm teaching writing with science, I'm teaching writing with social studies, and so on. I would do this whole lesson about the Statue of Liberty. You can't go into the torch. The crown has 25 windows. Did you know it had 354 stairs? It's in New York Harbor. We would find that on the map. We would look at all of this information, and then they could try to write a sentence about it. Now, preschool or beginning kinder would just give me a topic. So we made this Symbols of America book, and a topic might look like the Statue of Liberty turned green, and they marked where it was on the map, and they made a picture. Or they might have chosen the bald eagle, and the most important fact that that child liked about it was the bald eagle is not bald. And maybe Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents. And maybe another topic might be the Washington Monument is very tall. Now, you can take any of these, and that could be the topic sentence for a paragraph. So maybe if you're doing Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents as your topic sentence, the next day they might add one president is, and they would name, Abraham Lincoln or whatever. Another thing they might say about it is made out of, and whatever type of rock or where it is located. So they can add details about Mount Rushmore, one a day in a small group setting. We'd made topic books at the very beginning of the year about the different shapes. We made one about circles. We made one about squares. We made one about triangles and one about rectangles. This one was, what is a triangle? And the student might write, a triangle is a Dorito. And this is available on my Teacher Pay Teacher store. It's called Shape Writing. And then we just made book covers, and they sat in our library all year. And just a hint about when you're making books with children, if this was, let's say, Johnny's page and Johnny was student 3 in my classroom, I would label this page down in the corner number 3. And then Johnny knew that on any of our class books, he will always be on page 3. And then if you just attach a class list inside the front cover of any of your class books, a numbered class list, that serves as a table of contents, and that the child wants to find, if each child wants to find their friend, they just look for their friend's name, and it will tell them the number of the page their friend would be on. So informative writing. Now here's time for a tip and a prize. This was a great tip. I used this on the carpet. I used it at tables. I saved 3 ring binders, the fatter the better, and it created an easel for writing. Why did I do this? Because it's almost virtually impossible to write your letters from the bottom up if it's on a slanted surface. So children would write on these easels, and especially the ones who like to write their letters from the bottom up, they would definitely have a hard time doing that, and so they would tend to write their letters from the top down. So we used floor easels in my classroom, and then see how we stored them? One binder, fat side forward, fat side back, fat side forward, fat side back. And I would always ask the students that were the most visually perceptively challenged, is that a word? Visually perceptively challenged, to help me organize these each day. And they started to really develop their visual perception skills too. So Rochelle, are you ready for some more prizes?
Yes. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I was just very fascinated about visual perception tips, so I'm sorry I got a little distracted there, Palma. I'm learning too as well. Okay, everyone, the next prize winner is Christine King from Michigan. Christine King, you are a winner of 1 year of ESGI, as well as Palma's wonderful prize package she's giving away today with all of these templates for writing. Christine King from Michigan, if you're here, answer us in the question box, please. Thank you very much. Continue.
Okay, so we're just winding down. We've got opinion writing, and you know, they just love to give their opinion. They want us to know how they feel about everything. And they do need to write an opinion piece at the end of kindergarten and in first grade too. And so the templates you're getting have a lot of opportunity for that. I love also my flag template because they can write about their favorite national symbol. If it's a pre-K or a beginning K, they could just write the topic. I like the White House and be done with it. But if they are more this time of year, like for Memorial Day, you might want to do this template where they write their favorite national symbol and then explain why by using the word because. And I'm going to show you a little tip about that in just a second. So Jacqueline wrote, I like the White House because it is big and it has a lot of windows, and she drew all the windows. Now, if you have them put in blue background in this section, from afar, this really looks like an American flag. We used peeled and broken red crayons to color in the blank lines between the dotted lines, and we used broken blue crayons to fill in the background here. So they look like flags from afar, and then when people get up to them, they realize it's an opinion piece. So here is a bit.ly if you wanted to find my flag template on Teachers Pay Teachers. Now here's my because song. Now, I'm just going to let you know that when I sing here in the house, my family plays Guess That Tune because I am not a singer. But if you can imagine that this is an attempt at singing this to the tune of Camptown Races, I teach this song to the students, and it's so adorable to see them recalling how to spell the word because while they're writing. They'll be sitting there in their seats and wiggling their bottoms and writing and singing this song because they're trying to spell the word because. But anyways, it goes like this, and just bear with my singing. B-E-C-A-U-S-E, because, B-E-C-A-U-S-E, because. So you didn't know you were going to get entertainment too. Okay, so when I grow up, career writing, this is one of the best ones I do. I dress the kids up. I dress them up as to what they want to be when they grow up. And the template for this, there's a bit.ly for it, it's just when I grow up, I will be, and they write, this child would have written, I will be a farmer. And then if you want them to, they can add the word because, and then something they will do, because I will grow food for my family, or because I will milk the cows. And they get to dress up and as to what they want to be when they grow up. I take their photograph, I attach it to the template, makes a great bulletin board for open house. Now, I used to send home a note in English and Spanish asking the parents to send in the outfits. I did that until I had a little guy that wanted to be a pet store owner, and he brought into school a bag from PetSmart and a sign from PetSmart and a fish bowl from PetSmart with a fish in it and water on the bus. So after that, I decided I had lots and lots of dress-up clothes because of my dramatic play center, so I would say, here, pick from here. And if you, I just happen to have a farm center as a background, but if you don't and you have a smart board, like if you have somebody who wants to be a hairdresser, you can just Google a hairdresser image and put it up on your smart board and put them in front of it, and it looks like they are right there in a hair salon. So that's just another opinion kind of writing that makes writing fun. See, that's the goal here, is to make it so much fun that they just want to write all the time. And when they're doing their opinion writing with the templates you'll be getting, I think that they'll be having lots and lots of fun. So let me just take a look at now the last part. Narrative writing is when they draw and dictate and narrate either a single event or sequence of events. So they need to be able to retell a story to do that. Now, if you can imagine, this is the size of a poster board. It's laminated. Circle meant characters. You could even write that on there. And you put this down low enough for them to reach it on a bulletin board. with colored dry erase markers, and you have them illustrate the characters in a story, illustrate the setting in the story, and illustrate sequence of events. You can have one group working on each poster and then share the elements on the poster. Have them retell a story, act it out. Can you tell that this is the 3 bears? There are the 3 beds. We had 3 different sized chairs, and they would act out the story. Now, I was going to tell you a quick funny story that happened to me. This is true, really happened. I know it's very unusual for teachers to get to use the restroom, but I went at recess and used the restroom. And there I was washing my hands, ready to leave the restroom when my girlfriend walked in. And she was in the middle of telling me something very important to her, and so I couldn't leave. I had to wait there for her to finish. And so I'm just sort of standing there in the restroom looking around. And what do I see? I see these amazing square-shaped bags in the ladies' restroom. And I'm like, wow, that, you know, if I cut the top off here and then cut it down the middle and open it up at the bottom, this would make a great setting for the 3 bears. And so I grabbed the whole stack of them and 50 of them, and I grabbed them all because I thought, well, I'm doing the gingerbread man tomorrow. And I took them to my classroom, and I finished my lesson that day on characters. And then for setting, I took these home and I cut the roof line and the bottom, and I opened them up, and I'm like, whoa. I went online, I got bowls, I got chairs, I got beds, graphics for that evening, and I printed them up, and I gave each child the bowls and the chairs and the beds, and that's what's inside here when you open this up. Now, you don't need special bags from the ladies' room at my school. You can just use a lunch bag, but the idea is that this is the prompting and support that they need to retell a story, and if they can retell a story, they can attempt to write a story. This, by the way, was the big problem in the 3 bears. Inside is Goldilocks. They decided that even though there were problems with the porridge and the chairs and the beds, that the big problem in the story was that she went in the house. And yes, that's breaking and entering. So anyways, I did confess, by the way. I went to my principal that day at lunch, and I said, you know those bags in the ladies' room? We need lots of them. We need lots more of them. And she goes, no, there's a whole stack of them. I saw them in there. And I'm like, no, I took them all. And she said, are you okay? And I said, no, I'm fine. It's just that tomorrow I'm doing the gingerbread man. So anyways, you can just use lunch bags. You don't need special bags from the ladies' room. In fact, you can just take a piece of construction paper, fold it in half, and make a setting envelope. Now, this was the gingerbread man. The gingerbread man started out in the kitchen. So here is the kitchen right here for her gingerbread man down at the bottom. And then the setting changes. So on the back, they drew the river, and all the characters fit inside, and they can retell the story. And then that helps them to be able to write about the story. They could write something from the beginning, something from the middle, something from the end. Narrative writing, this is perfect for 1st grade, but if I was doing this in kindergarten, I would do 1 sentence a day. So maybe the first sentence would be about the characters in the story, the second sentence, the setting, and then the third sentence might be something that happened in the story, and I can have up to 3 more sentences about that. Or maybe just something from the beginning, the middle, and the end, or the problem and the solution and the resolution. But 1 sentence a day, so it's not overwhelming. Okay, time for one more prize. Let's do a tip first. I took their photographs from the photo company that comes and takes pictures at our school. Did you notice that I have a background? The background's all the same for every child. That made it really nice. And I attached it to a piece of paper where I wrote each child's name in aligned font. So if they wanted to write, you wanted to write to Ashley, you could find her picture, and I smudged them out because this is going on social media. I didn't want to identify a child with their name. You can just find the page with the child's picture that you're looking for, and then you know how to spell their name. So you don't need fancy postcards like I had here, and you don't need a fancy mailbox. You just put pieces of cardstock, and they can write postcards to their friends at the writing center. So keeping children writing all the time, making it fun, keeping it at a center is something that this was doing. And Rochelle, do you have some prizes for us?
Yes, absolutely. And can I just say, Palma, you're getting so many great comments in the chat here. Everybody's loving your singing, your songs, and your resourcefulness. And I am just telling you what, everyone, if you have not hung out with Palma for any period of time, you should, because this lady is the most resourceful lady I've ever met. We could just be hanging out together somewhere, and she can find things to use in her classroom, just as she did with those paper bags. I can attest to that. So thank you, Palma, for all these great ideas that you're giving us.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
Okay, our next winner is April Driscoll. And April Driscoll is from Chicago, but she must be on spring break because she is in St. Louis currently. So April Driscoll, you are our winner of the ESGI free year license and Palma's wonderful writing template giveaway. So April Driscoll, if you're here, just give us a shout out in the chat. Thanks.
Wow. Well, congratulations to the winners so far. We still have more prizes to give away. And also, don't forget my code here. It's all capitals after the bit.ly in lowercase / ESGI code will take you right to signing up for your free trial. So in a sense, everybody is a winner. What we covered today was a little bit about emergent writing, descriptive writing, informative writing, opinion writing, and narrative writing. But I also wanted to let you know that anybody can pick up my instant writing. So if you didn't win that, it's on TPT. It's, I don't even remember what it is. It's like $5 or $6. It's not too much, but you're getting 48 nouns, 48 verbs, and 48 nouns for the predicate. And just run them on colored paper. You also get the writing template and the yellow extra words card. You just, well, I just ran it on yellow. But also DJ Incres is giving you a code webinar for 20% off. And here's a URL to go right directly to bit.ly / DJ Incres. Will take you right to their website and you can shop. So free for you. You're all getting the month-to-month writing. You're all getting a certificate of attendance. You're all getting the free code for DJ Incres webinar. And we have the grand prize. And let me just show you a little bit about that. The grand prize is not only a year of ESGI, which, by the way, will change your life. I would highly recommend signing up for the free trial and then share it with your administrator, because when your administrator sees the kind of data that it produces, meaningful data, and when you also realize that your students are begging you to be tested, you will just, all of the burden and all of the stress of testing will just run right off of you. I travel across the country and in Canada presenting to teachers, and I ask at every one of my sessions who uses ESGI, and of the people who raise their hand, I say, who loves ESGI? And I'm not kidding you when I tell you 100% of the teachers say, my students love it, I love it. So I can't tell you enough about it. It's just been, I did a blog post called Palma's Favorite Things, you know, like Oprah's favorite things. I'm not quite Oprah, not at all like Oprah, but, you know, I do have my favorite things, and ESGI is #1. So I hope that you will also visit my blog and see more about that too. But let me tell you about kids all through the year, because DJ Incres has come up with this wonderful kit. And this goes with our whole theme of writing throughout the year. I created Rhyme Time using their graphics, and it's actually on their blog. DJ Incres has a blog. These are graphics for the entire year. So if you're making things for your classroom, if you're making calendar sets, anything at all, it's a wonderful set. It's over 800 graphics. It's 833 graphics and a font. It's a $40 value, and it's free to one grand prize winner. So Rochelle, I'll let you pick that winner.
Okay, grand prize winner. If you are here, please give us a shout out in the question box. The grand prize winner is from North Dakota, and that person is Amber Tostenson. Amber Tostenson, you are the grand prize winner for this webinar.
Yay, all right. Well, I also wanted to thank ESGI for hosting this, and thank DJ Incres for their contribution for the free code, the 20% off code, and then also the people that are getting my instant writing. I hope that you enjoy that, and my month-to-month writing. And I also wanted to thank you for coming and attending this seminar today, this webinar. I hope you visit KFUNdamentals on Facebook. I've got some pretty cool Pinterest boards for TK, NK, and lots of other, even first grade, and lots of other things. I've got an Instagram account, Twitter, Teachers Pay Teachers, but mostly my blog. My blog is at kfundamentals.blogspot.com, and I'm going to be doing a follow-up blog post. So give me like a day or two to get this all done, but it will answer any of the questions you had about instant writing or making every child a writer. So that blog post will be on there for you in a day or two. So I hope that you all visit me. And I hope that you all follow me on all my social media and that you give ESGI a try because you will love it. Don't forget to use my code KFUN. All righty. And I thank you so much.
Thank you, Palma. We have really enjoyed learning with you today. Thank you so much for all the great ideas. And I just want to remind everyone to follow Palma over on her blog where she's going to be answering your specific questions that you asked during the live webinar. And we will be sending you your email with your certificate of participation, a link to this recording, and Palma's month-to-month writing packet. But don't forget, it may take up to a week to get that. So if you don't get it next week, then you can write to us and ask about that. So check your email. And don't forget that our celebrity webinar series has been going on all year. So if you've missed any of our webinars, please go to our YouTube channel and check out the archives. Thank you so much for your attention tonight and have a great evening.
Bye-bye.